would you choose your parents? This is a very important question. If at the time when you were born, you were given a chance to choose which family you'd be born into, would you have chosen your parents? There's a TV show, it's on Netflix. It's based on a true story. It's called Blood and Water. I didn't know it was based on a true story. I discovered that today in the morning. I used to like that show. I watched it a lot a few years back when it first came out. It's about two sisters who didn't know they were sisters. They discovered that they were sisters when they were in high school, because the older sister was stolen when she was 2 days old. She was stolen from her biological mother when she was 2 days old. Her mother went on to have 3 more children, and she told them what happened to their older sister. So when the younger sister, the one that comes after her, went to high school and she saw someone that looks like her, she's like, what if that's my sister who got abducted when I was young? Because everyone was telling her that she looks like her, right? Everyone, in fact, people were telling them that they look alike, both of them. So they ended up becoming friends, and she ended up telling her that she had an older sister who got abducted when she was 2 days old. But she didn't really think much of it. I mean, what are the chances that they would actually meet? But it was weird, it was weird to her that they look alike. It was weird that she was the same age that her sister would have been. So because people kept on telling them that they look alike, she became curious. So one day they took a picture together, and she went with the picture home. In fact, she took it on her phone. She showed her mother, and her mother was like, but you do look alike. But they didn't really think that it could be her. I mean, it was 17 years later. Like, you can't really think, you know what I mean? Like, what kind of coincidence is that? But it was still weird that they actually did look alike. So the younger sister continued to investigate, because she was like, no, this is weird. Why do we look alike? Why is she the same age that my sister would have been? And everyone's telling us that we're sisters. Everyone assumed that we're sisters. When they see us together, they literally assume that we're sisters. Maybe we are sisters. So she ended up doing her own investigation, involved the cops, and it was discovered that it was really her sister. So the woman who stole her from her biological mother got arrested. But it's a woman that she always thought was a mother, and this woman treated her very well, right? She was actually from a well-off family. Both her mother and father were doing very well. So they treated her very well, treated her like a princess. She was enjoying her life because of how she was being treated. Her biological mother and father were not doing so great. So even though, she discovered the truth, maybe she's supposed to be happy, right? Because she discovered the truth. The truth was that the woman that she thought was a mother wasn't actually a mother. This woman stole her from her biological mother. But she still wanted to see that woman, because she had a connection with that woman. Like, it took years for her to connect with their real parents. She even went to visit her in jail, because in her eyes, that's her mother. Like, this woman has been my mother like for 17 years. How am I supposed to think that this woman is not my mother? And she was treating me well. I mean, if she was treating her like crap, obviously she would be happy. Like, oh shit, I'm happy that this is not my mother. But she was treating her so well that she didn't want the story to be true. Right? She didn't want the story to be true. But also because, you know, the woman that she thought was a mother gave her a great life. And the woman who is a mother wouldn't have given her that kind of life. So I'm asking you this question. Would you... I mean, let me not even judge. I'm not going to say she wouldn't have... But she wouldn't have been able to give her that kind of life. Like, you know, like... Because she didn't have money. But she would have loved her, obviously, because she loved the younger sister. So... But then... because of how she struggled, she said she even thought of ending her own life. You could see that she didn't want that to be true at first. Like, it took longer for her to connect with her biological parents. So that's what's making me ask this question, that do you think that you would have chosen your parents if you were given a choice at birth? There are people who believe that they chose their parents. Like, before you're born, you choose your parents. And it's funny because some people experience trauma that you just can't recover from, and you find that it was caused by their parents. Would you have chosen your parents? I believe that a lot of parents are not good parents. Like, people are not taught how to raise their children. You know, they don't know what they're doing, actually. Children are just surviving. So I would like you guys to tell me in the comments. Let me actually be the one to tell you. So that it will be fair. Would I have chosen my parents? I want to say this first. I do love my parents. My dad passed away last year. My mom is still here. We communicate every day. I don't think I would have chosen my parents if I had to come here. Like, I mean, I wouldn't have chosen to be here. But if I had a choice, I mean, like, if I was forced that I must be here, I wouldn't have chosen my parents. Not because they are bad parents, not because they didn't raise me well, but because I don't know if we were compatible, right? Like, I don't know if I do feel that they could have done a better job, but I feel like they didn't understand me. You know, they just look at me the same way that they'll look at any other kid, you know. So I will be right about some things, but they will not see that I'm right because I'm just a kid. And because, you know, where I grew up, you have to listen to your elders. You have to listen to your elders, whether they're right or wrong. You have to listen to them. So I was this kind of kid who will always be arguing with my parents about things, and you know, in the end, they'll realize that I was right. But it bothered me, you know, because they didn't really understand. It looked like I was a bad kid, you know. My dad would always call his friends, be like, yo, he's not listening to me when it comes to this and that. And I knew, like, I knew what I wanted and what kind of person that I wanted to be, you know. But then they looked at me as the same way that they would look at another kid and all that. Like, I feel like, yeah, that's what I would say my parents did wrong. Like, they didn't understand where I was. You know, they just look at me the same way that parents would look at any other kid. So that's what they did wrong. But they did love me, and they didn't, I wouldn't say they mistreated me. All parents make mistakes. So yeah, they did love me, they didn't mistreat me. And also they didn't have the kind of money that I think parents should have to even have children. You know, I think we should stop romanticizing the idea that life is so precious that every person must have a child even if they don't have the means, right? I think people should think for themselves, you know. I don't think the government should be like, okay, if you're not making this amount of money, don't have. I think it will. I don't believe in people like being controlled. Basically, you know, I believe in real freedom. People must be free, but I think they should also think for themselves. You know, look at their own situation. Be like, do I really have enough money to bring someone else into this world? If they want to have children, I've already told you what I think about having children. But let's say you want to have children. Shouldn't you ask yourself that question? Do I have enough money? Like, what am I doing? I can see that I barely afford what I need. So really, why should I have a child if I can barely afford what I need? You know, obviously that child is going to be a burden to me, and we're going to suffer together. And because we live in a capitalist society, if I'm not making money, then they will be behind by default, right? I'm not going to be able to take them to the best schools. I'm not going to be able to buy them the tools that they need to learn what they need to learn. You know, find that your parents don't buy you a computer at a time when you need to learn how to use a computer. You go to university, you can't even use a computer, and they're using computers. You get what I'm saying? Like, you'll be left behind. Like, so now you have to learn things that your parents should have been able to teach you when they were raising you. So the kids who had parents who were doing well, you find that they have an advantage over you because of that. When you get a job, you have to start from the bottom, for real. You know, you have to take care of your siblings. That's, you know, where I come from, that's that's what people do. You find that, okay, you become a teacher, now you have to take care of your siblings. You find that you have to pay their tuition fees, everything. Like, you have to carry the whole family. Your parents have nothing. You have to build them a house and all that. You know what I mean? Like, you'll be left behind. Can you imagine? You spend the next 10 years of your life, after suffering a lot, you spend the next 10 years of your life taking care of your siblings and your parents financially, and you're not even making that much money because your parents didn't give you a good head start, you know? So you know what I'm saying? Like, it's unfair on so many levels, right? So I don't feel that my parents had the money that I needed to do what I wanted to do in life, you know? There's been so many times when I'm like, I need this. I remember when I first discovered the first love of my life. You know, growing up, I used to think I don't love music. You know, I'll play music, but I only love like one song. There was one song that I liked. It was by Brenda Fassie. It's called No 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 Signor. I still love that song. It was like the only song that I loved until I reached the age of 12. And I discovered a genre called hip hop. Bruh, I went crazy. Like, I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Like, it sounded so good. I've never loved, like, I don't think I could ever love music the way that I loved it between 2005 and 2006. Like, bro, I loved hip hop. Tell my dad, oh, please buy me, and I meant it. Like, if I want something I really wanted, please buy me a sound system. You know, I need to listen to hip hop, blah, 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 blah. And I became a good rapper. You know, growing up, I couldn't even speak English. I taught myself English from listening to hip hop. So do you understand the kind of passion that I had? You know, people couldn't speak English. I was like the only one who could speak English because I'm listening to rap music and I want to hear. So the passion was real. It was the kind of passion that will make you cry. But my dad can't afford it. You get what I'm saying? I'm like, your friend can, because, you know what I mean? Like, I've discovered hip hop at his friend's house. You know, his kids, you know, they're also fans of hip hop. So, you know what I mean? So it took it took time until my dad was able to buy me something. But then I ended up wanting a computer because I wanted to learn how to produce, and he was able to buy me a computer after I finished high school. And I had to learn how to use, what I'm saying, like you are behind by default. You don't learn what you need to learn or what you want to learn or what you have a passion for learning at the time that you need to learn. And we might act like that's not a big deal, but it is. There are a lot of, there's wasted talent where I live. I'm talking real talented people. I was telling someone that there's a reason why a lot of people, like people where I come from, are not famous. They're not successful. It's not because they're just dumb. No, they didn't have what people who grew up maybe in Soweto had. They had access to things. We didn't have access to things. And you can see how the world changed, right? Like so we needed to, we needed to be on the, we needed to have access to the same things to be able to compete. So yeah, I told myself when I was young that I'm not gonna have kids until I'm able to make real money. That's what I told myself. I wasn't an internationalist at the time. I was just a person who was thinking, hey, I'm not gonna have kids until I have money because my parents don't have money and I know what it's like, So yeah, that's one of the reasons why I wouldn't choose my parents. I love them. I love my mom. I love my dad. I don't have a problem with them, but I'm going to be honest on this video, and I would like other people to be honest. Would you choose your parents? Because when humans have a choice, they don't necessarily choose they don't necessarily choose the first choice that they have, right? Like if they have options, really, they don't choose the first choice that they have. They explore, try to figure out. Like as a guy, you have options with women. You're not going to choose the woman that just wants you. You might sleep with her, but you will try to meet different women, see who you're going to marry if you're going to get married. But you don't just marry the first girl. Like, it's rare. It does happen, but it's rare, right? Same with women. When they have options, you can find that she was born in a village where she's like the most attractive woman. Chances of her marrying in that village are few. She's probably going to marry someone someone who's well off, someone who's doing great in life because she has options. So when people have options, they go for the best options that they have. It's human nature. So that's why I'm asking you, do you feel like your parents are the best that you could have? Like, do you think that they're doing a very great job? I think raising children isn't as easy as we pretend it is. A lot of adults are broken, There's a reason why when you go to therapy, they ask you about your childhood. Because your childhood is important, like more important than we even realize. It teaches you who you are in the world. Do you get what I'm saying? If you grow up in a family that makes you feel unheard, unwanted, remember that the people that you depend on the most are the people that you're very close to. It's your siblings, it's your grandparents, it's your parents, it's your uncles, the people that you're close to. So if all of them are making you feel unwanted, unloved, you're going to believe that deep down. You know what I'm saying? Like some things you cannot fake. You're going to believe that deep down, that I'm unloved, I'm unwanted. And when you go out into the world, you already believe that, right? So you believe that that's who you are in this world, a person who's unwanted, a person who's unloved. So since that's the story that you believe about yourself, even when people treat you like they want you and they love you, you believe that they're pretending. You find that you can't even fake it. Like you believing that it's real, like they actually do love me and all that, like that, it will feel fake. It will feel like it's not real. It will feel like you are just pretending, or you just want to believe something that's positive. but the real truth is that they don't. So you always look for evidence to prove what you already believe deep down inside. You see, so when they make a mistake that makes you think they don't love you, you see, I knew. And you find that it's a mistake that any person can make. But like, you see, I knew you don't love me. You find that it's just a mistake, right? They've treated you like they loved you, but they made one mistake, just one mistake, and you use that as proof to believe that they don't love you, and you cut them off, or you cut them. So it's like that. Our childhood is really important. That's the time where you need to learn who you are in the world. And once you believe, let's just say your parents make you feel great, your parents make you feel like you can get what you want, right? You know, when you want something, they take you seriously. You know, they get you what you want, and you believe that. You believe that you are the kind of person who must get what you want. Everywhere you go, you feel like you are deserving. You know, have you ever met a person who feel like they're not deserving? I have met people who don't feel like they're deserving. You do something nice for them, they feel that they don't deserve it. Like, it shocks them, but also they feel like they have to do something for you. Like, I don't deserve this. Like, why would you be so nice to me? You find that someone gives you a lift, right? You're going somewhere, someone gives you a lift, and you kind of feel like you have to do something. It's like, no, they're just giving you a lift. Like, you mustn't offer compensate. It's just, it's good. They just gave you a lift. You know, like, you're not used to people doing nice things for you. So you understand how important our childhood is. If you had neglectful parents and you felt neglected, you will feel neglected by everyone, even the people who actually love you. That's why we have a lot of work to do on ourselves. As conscious as I am, I have a lot of work to do. Like, I know that there are some things that I do because of my childhood trauma, right? I'll be like, yeah, but that doesn't make sense for me to do. Like, if I think as rationally as possible, it actually doesn't make sense. I do have some beliefs that don't make sense. I'll be like, why did I believe that about myself? It doesn't make sense. But then when you look back, you're like, oh, it makes sense because of how I grew up, because of what I had to deal with when I was young. So yes, it's unhealthy for me to behave this way, but it has a lot to do with my childhood. And even if I fake it, it's one day it's always gonna come out, right? Like, I can't really fake it. And you find that you don't know how to heal your inner child. Like, you don't even know how to, because it's and I don't know if you can. Like, I was thinking deeply about it. I was like, maybe we can't. Maybe it becomes who we are. So when we become something different, it feels unfamiliar, right? So we'll always revert back to our old character. Always, like, there's always gonna be this pull. You know what I mean? Like, you could try to, like, change, but then there's always this pull. Like, no, you're not being real, not being authentic. This is who you are. You are this sad person who no one loves, who should always be alone, and that becomes true, right? So every time when you try to change and become someone else, you become someone that people love, people want to be with, and all, like, it doesn't feel real. It feels inauthentic. But it doesn't necessarily mean that that's who you are. It just means that that's what the world taught you to be. So the people who were raising you taught you to be that person, and you became that person, and everything. So it's like it became everything to you. So it's hard for you to change. Would you have chosen your parents? You don't understand how fragile we are when we're young. We're very, very fragile. And when we're older, we're different. We're the opposite. That is why it's hard to change. When we're young, we're fragile. So what we learn when we're young is really important. You see, These two girls that I'm telling you about, the one that grew up in poverty and the one that grew up in a rich family, they had a different outlook on life. They had they didn't view life the same way. So the girl that grew up in poverty, maybe she believed more on love, like love each other in the struggle and this and that. And then the one that grew up in a good family, she can't really relate to that. It wasn't like she didn't face the struggle that girl faced. So they didn't view life the same way. So that's why it was much harder for the one who grew up in a good family to connect with her family. Looking at where they came from, looking at what they have. So it was kind of difficult for her. That is why when someone does something crazy, like if someone shoot up at school, people want to know how that person grew up. It's like deep down we all know that your childhood is important. Your parents are important. So if your parents don't really know what they're doing, chances are you're going to become dysfunctional. You're going to have a lot of problems as an adult. Because it has to do with the foundation. It's like if you're building a house, if the foundation isn't good, the house is obviously not going to be good, right? But if the foundation is good, chances are the house is going to be good. And even if maybe the house doesn't really look good, but if the foundation is good and is strong, you can always, like if you can say that, okay, so we're going towards the wrong, like we're not building the house the way that we should, you can always not necessarily start over because the foundation is good. You can just start from where you went wrong, right? So that's how it is also in life. If you had a good foundation, even if you start to make mistakes, you can trace it back to where you made a mistake and be like, okay, this is where I went wrong. So let me fix the mistakes. And it's easier. But if you had a bad foundation, you don't even know how to fix things. Would you have chosen your parents? Like, honestly, man, let's just say they gave you 10 different options. What are the chances that you would have chosen your parents? But like, okay, this is the family that I would have wanted to be born into. But what are the chances? I'm not talking about 100 different options now, just 10. What are the chances that you would have chosen the family that you were born into? Or sometimes when I see kids in some families, I feel for them, Look at what they go through because of their parents. And I genuinely feel for them because I can see the mistakes that their parents are making and be like, have you ever look at how a kid is being treated and you can see that you can understand why the kid is the way that they are. The parents do not even see why the kid is the way they are. You find that the kid is not performing well at school. The parents don't even realize that. They think they're doing a great job and they try to compare that kid with other kids. You find that the other kids, they're performing well at school because they have better parents. They're performing well in life because they have better parents. Those parents will be like, why ain't you like that one? But you're like, Mom, that person has, that person, their mom does this and that for them. You don't do that. And you expect me to be like that person? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Parents can be like that. Why don't you be like that person? Why don't you be like that? You're like, well, that person has this, they have that. I don't. So that is what's making it difficult for me to be like that person. Like, for an example, let's just say when your parents were raising you and they said, why do you always go out to play? and come back home late at night? Or why do you stay at your friend's house? Or why do you eat at your friend's house? Blah, 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 blah. Like, first of all, and why don't you be like that guy? That guy stays in his house, he eats at his house, he doesn't have too many friends. But you be like, okay, that guy, his parents bought him a PlayStation, he has a sound system, he has a TV, DSTV, he has fun in his own home. He doesn't necessarily need to go out, right? He has everything that he needs, right? It's a good environment where he is. There's love, there's peace. He eats the food that he wants. You're not providing me with any of that. So that is why I'm going. Do you get what I'm saying? It's like if you are married, for an example, and your husband is not treating you well, but he expects you to be like someone's wife who's being treated well. But like, oh, look at that wife. She's loyal. She's this and that. But yeah, you're not treating me the way that person is being treated. Maybe you are the problem. It does happen. I do see a lot of guys complaining about their women not being respectful sometimes and all that. Yes, you can date a woman who's disrespectful for real. There are people who are just like that. You find that it's their character, period. Right? It's not even you. It has nothing to do with you. But it's also possible to date a person who would respect you if you were treating them better. So their disrespect comes from the fact that they are not happy because of how you're treating them. So you try to compare them with other women who are respected and who are treated well in their relationships. Life is complicated, man. I know a lot of kids do wish they were born in different family. It's just that they didn't have the choice. There's a reason why marriage doesn't last. It's because when people have a choice, they don't stick around when they're experiencing nonsense, when they have a choice. Or when they're unhappy. When I was young, it was much harder for me to deal with the breakup. That's because I looked at it the same way that you look at your relationship with your parents. Like, you just can't change your parents. You just can't break up with your parents when things are not working out and say, okay, look, I don't think you're doing a good job as my parent, so let me go and be these people's child. So that's kind of like how I looked at it. So breakups will hit hard. But as you get older, you realize that, well, when people really have a choice, they can leave you. So if they don't leave you, it's usually because they don't have a choice if you are not doing that great. So they have to stick with you. They have to stick with what they know, because even if it seems like they do have a choice, the choice isn't better. And they can see that. How many exes do you have? Out of those exes, how many did you want to be part of your life forever? What actually happened? You find that minor things happen. You find that you have experienced a lot of messed up things with your parents than you have experienced with anyone that you've dated, but they will remain your parents forever. Some people do decide to just be like, you know what, I don't even want to be in contact with my parents anymore because the whole thing is toxic. But they'll still be your parents, even if you leave your parents. Like, I know people who have left their parents for real, but like, I don't want to be in contact with them. Even when their parents call, they don't talk to them anymore, but they're still your parents. That's the thing. So that's why I'm asking if you would have chosen your parents. How many friends have you had? Find that you and these people were good friends, but you started to grow apart. So you might find that maybe your parents were great when you were young. Maybe they stopped being great when you hit the age of 10. So from the age of 1 until the age of 10, they knew what they were doing, but as you got a little older, they didn't know how to deal with you. When you became a teenager, it became worse. It does happen a lot, actually. You find that when you want freedom, they can't give you the freedom that you need. When you might want to make your own decisions, they don't allow you to make your decisions, and you are old enough to be able to make your own decisions, but they want to control you. So when we were young, it worked because you needed them to be there to tell you if you are flip-flopping, right? To show you support, to be emotionally available. But as you get older, you want them to allow you to fly, right? To allow you to take risks, to allow you to make mistakes and learn from these mistakes. But you find that they don't. They want to hold you like this. They want to protect you so much that now you can't breathe, you know? Like, they hold on to you so much that you can't really breathe. It can happen. Like, people experience different traumas when they're growing up. Even if you were born in a family that was well off, you might find that they might give you, trauma. Maybe they're not there for you. You find that your parents are making money, they are focusing on that. You are raised by your nanny. So you don't know how it's like to have your biological parents raising you. So it becomes difficult for you. So even if you come from a family that's well off, you will deal with some problems. Or your parents are doing a lot of illegal things, and they have you mixed up with wrong people who mistreat you when they are there. You know what I'm saying? Find that your parents are toxic. They are rich, but they are toxic. So yeah, they have money, but you're not happy at home, you know? Find that your parents are doing well. They're pastors, but they're very strict. As my son, you can't do this, you can't do that. You're not free because you represent them. You want to take your own path in life. You want to date, you want to be free. You want to sneak a girl in sometimes. You know what I mean? We human at the end of the day. You're a teenager. You are like 18. Yeah, but then you can't do that. Like, they're too damn strict. They want you to follow the path that they followed. Like, you can't even date, basically. You when you date for marriage. They don't even allow you to explore, to see if you find the right woman for you. Some of them can even choose a woman for you. Be like, yeah, that one is the one who's good. We don't want this one. Parents like who very religious actually can choose for their children who they marry. you find that you don't have a connection with that woman that they want you to marry, but they want you to marry her because maybe of how she was raised. But you have a connection with a woman that wasn't raised very, like not necessarily raised very well, but then raised the way that they would have wanted the woman that you want to marry to have been raised. So now you are married, but you're unhappy because you didn't marry the one that makes you happy. Because let's be honest, it's not like people don't have different personalities. Just because someone is a woman doesn't mean that you're going to love her the same way that you love the one that you are with, just because she's a woman. She can be more beautiful, but you still don't love her. She could be making money, but you still don't love her. Like, you are not happy when you're with her, even if she loves you. Because people have different characters. So you can't simply like a song because it's well made. There's music, there's songs that you like. You find that, the artist didn't even do a lot of work on the song, but you just like it, right? But there are songs that people took time to make, and the song is well mixed and mastered. Everything is done well, but you don't really like the song. You don't want to listen to the song. It happens. We like different things as people. So a lot of parents flop without realizing that they're flopping when they're raising their kids. And like I keep on telling you that if there's between parents and children, the ones who should not make mistakes is parents. Kids can make mistakes. They're still learning. But the parents need to try to be perfect. Why? Because you decided to bring kids into this world. So try to be perfect for them. Even if it means that you have to make a lot of sacrifices. Make these sacrifices so that their lives will make sense. Because you're going to end up causing trauma that will be passed down to your bloodline. We talk about generational trauma. So you don't raise your kids well, they don't raise their kids well, and you find that it takes many generations for the curse to be broken. Because of you. Maybe you're an alcoholic. When you come back home, you always abuse your wife in front of your kids. You call them whatever names you want to call them. Then they're unhappy because of that. And because they're unhappy, they learn to cope the same way that you cope. So they drink alcohol and then boom, they do the same thing that you used to do. And it goes on until someone different is born. That person will have to experience all the nonsense, but they're different. So they have a different outlook on life. So they approach things a bit differently. And you find that they break the curse that way, but it's very hard. And they will have to deal with a lot. Like they'll probably experience the worst of it. Because they're different. When you're different, it's kind of like the universe itself wants you to experience if you're different in your family, it's like the universe wants you to experience the worst of everything. It's crazy. It's like the universe just wants to kill you, basically. It's like, no, you can't change things. You can't be the one to change things. But then if you are resilient enough, then you find that you are able to break the curse. We've seen a lot of families that seem to be doing well, but behind the scenes, nothing was going well. So on the outside, everything seemed good, but on the inside, everything was not good. So when the children, when they're older, they tell us that, oh, this is what I was going through. A lot of people thought I was happy, but this is what I was going through. You're like, wow. Everyone wanted to be like you when they were little, but they didn't know what was going on. If you still have not answered my question and you're still watching the video, tell me. After listening to all the things that I've said, Do you think that you would have chosen your parents? Do you think that you would have chosen to be born if you really had a choice? But yeah, tell me, do you think you would have chosen your parents? The thing is, when something is familiar, it feels like that's what you should have. You know, when a place is familiar, it feels like that's where you belong, right? Like it's where you belong. Like it's where you should have been. It feels right, even if it's bad, even if it's a bad place. It kind of feels right in some way, because it's where you've always belonged. I mean, it's where you felt like you've always belonged. That's why when you're dating someone and you're in love with them, at the time, even if you're not really in love with them, but if you've dated them for long enough, it feels like, yeah, there's a sense of belonging, right? Friends, like even if you have a friend, even if the friendship itself isn't great, but there's a sense of belonging. But after the friendship has ended or the relationship has ended, you look back and be like, why was I with this person again? When you meet a new person, you feel the way that you used to feel about that person. You feel like you should have known them your whole life, and then you break up and you meet another person and it feels that way. So familiarity gives birth to, I don't know, to comfort, to what we call love, a sense of belonging. Whoever owns this place is gonna make a lot of money. I wonder who actually owns this place, this whole place. Ever been so broke that people who have money, they don't seem real? Like, what do I even mean? Like that they don't really exist. Like, you can't even imagine how someone has money. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're so broke that you can't imagine how someone has money. Like, it feels unreal. Like, you know, it feels you can't even explain it. But like J. Cole said, I hope that you know money won't erase the pain. It just keeps you distracted enough. And, you know, I guess that helps. My eyesight is really bad. I lost my old glasses. If I didn't have some money, I used to have a headache. Like, my eyesight, like when I was working, I would feel like I'm becoming blind. So I went to a doctor, got a new prescription. I feel better now. Like, I can see better now. So if I didn't have money, it means that I would be suffering. If I didn't have the money to pay, so it means that I would be suffering. So yeah, it does help to some degree, but it doesn't really erase the pain, because when you are comfortable, you start to think like the pain is still there. It's not like the pain goes away. It's still there, especially the pain that was caused when you were young. That's why I was talking about childhood trauma on this video. People don't take childhood trauma seriously. I think very few parents are actually doing a good job. Very, very few. Most parents are mistreating their kids. They shout at their kids. They neglect their kids. You know, the kids feel neglected emotionally. They come back from work angry. They don't even have time to have conversations with their kids. You find out the dad is not there for his kid. You know, when he's going through puberty, he doesn't even know what is going on. You know, The dad is not there. He's not there to teach him the truth about life. Can you imagine, like, the things that your dad is supposed to teach you, you have to learn yourself. The truth about women, relationships, and all of that. You need your dad. He's been through it. He knows. He needs to tell you. When you have a crush on this girl and whatever, he has to tell you everything that can happen so that you'll be ready for it. He needs to tell you how to maintain the relationship. Because when you're still young, you might not even know. You might think crying in front of that little girl is a good thing, but she might start to think you're weak and all that and goes for another guy. You need your dad to tell you that. Like, yo, bro, don't ever show your tears to this girl. Straight up. Like, you think she's going to love you more because you're vulnerable and all that. That's not going to work. You know, she's just... she's going to think you're weak, bro. She's going to look for the strongest now. You'll be surprised. She'll go for a guy that you never thought she would go for. You find that this guy is a bully. He's that guy that no one should like, but somehow she likes him. And you are this good guy who tells her how you feel, and she just doesn't have feelings for you. So you learn, because your dad is teaching you things. He's teaching you how to do things in this world, right? How to play the game. That would be good. You could decide that, you know what, I don't want to play the game, I'm going to be real, but you know how the game is played so that you're not shocked. You know? You're like, I'm still going to be real, but you don't have to learn the hard way because your dad isn't there to show you the ropes. You also need a good head start. Right? In life, we need a good head start. You know, everyone has dreams. Maybe not everyone, but some people have dreams. You need something to you know, so that you'll be working on your dreams. So even if you're going to school because they all want you to go, they all want us to go to school, right? Fine, but you still have some money to explore, right? Figure out what can work for you. If you have talent, you know, you buy the things that you need, you know, to learn how to, like, you just say you want to be to play piano. You buy a piano, you learn. You buy a guitar, you learn. You know what I'm saying? You have the equipment. You wanna be a business person. You buy some stuff when you're still young and you start selling. You know, you have money. They're giving you money to do that, to start your own business. You learn when you're still young. You could have a pass shop when you're young. You could sell something at school, even if they don't want you to sell. You could sell. I remember I used to sell sweets at school. I had regular customers. You know, when you're doing your business very well, it gets to a point where you have people that you know will buy from you. They won't buy from another person. So I would go from class to class, and there were these girls who buy from me all the time. Like, the other guys who were selling sweets, they will be mad because they will be buying from me like they will literally wait for me. They know that I will come with the sweets and they'll buy. So it was like that they wouldn't just buy from anyone. So now you have your regular customers. You are learning how to treat your regular customers, how to, you know what I mean? You're learning from an early age, and you know, you grow up business minded. You keep on thinking business, and you find that when you get older, you are able to start your own business, like a big business, and things start working out because you had a good head start. But if you don't have a good head start, you might experience a lot of problems when you're trying to do something in life. It will feel like you're just taking chances. There's a reason why a lot of people who come from where I come from are not successful. And there's a reason why a lot of people who are born in well-off families are successful. Like, a lot of people who are born in well-off families are actually successful. Even if they didn't become as successful as everyone expected, they're still successful. You know, they had a good head start. You find that even when they're making mistakes, their parents are there to back them up. Have you ever seen a person make mistake after mistake? You're like, damn. But they keep on getting second chances, third chances, 100 chances. You only have one chance. You screw up. Listen, like you only have one chance. You only have one chance. Sometimes it can be like that. Find that a person only has like one chance. Like if they make a mistake, that's it for them. And they know. You need connections. You need your parents to connect you with the right people. It's your parents' job to do that. Some parents don't know that. They have to figure out how you are as a kid. If you are talented in music, they should be able to hook you up with people who can help you. You like football, they should be able to connect you with people who can help you. You are interested in cricket, they need to be able to hook you up with people who can help. Rugby, they need to hook you up with people who can help. It's your parents' job to figure that out. Because when you're still young, you don't have connections. You're still young. They are old. They should be able to have connections. They need to be able to know where you can go. So being a parent is not easy. Most parents are just like their children are raised by society and they blame them for what they become. But they weren't there for them in ways that they needed to be there for them. Being a parent is a difficult job. Even if you have all the resources, even understanding your kid, it's not easy, you know? Understanding your kid is not easy. When people like me say, no, we don't want to have children, and people say we're cowards or we're selfish, we're surprised. You know, it's not just about surviving, you know, it's also about the quality of life being lived. So you must also look at yourself. Can I give someone a life worth living? Or I'll just traumatize them, because that can happen. You bring a child into this world and you just traumatize them. So it's not just about being alive, it's also about living a life worth living. In fact, that's what it's really about. You don't want to exist for the sake of existing. You want to create a life that will feel meaningful to you. Because even if they want to say that you create your own meaning, that's fine, but if your life is not making sense, it's going to be hard for you to create meaning. if you are going through struggles every day and you find that these struggles don't seem necessary, it was because of the mistakes that your parents made, it's gonna be hard for you to create meaning. It's gonna take years, and by the time maybe you are able to create meaning, you are broken, so broken that you don't even know how to enjoy yourself anymore. Because trauma does kill something deep down. So the spark that used to be there, you find that it's gone because of trauma. Thank you all guys for watching this video until the end. Like the video, tell me what you think in the comment about the video. Even after telling me if you would have chosen your parents, tell me what you think about the video itself. Share the video, subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Thank you.